Hello, dear viewers. Today we will discuss 11 important things to remove from your life to find inner peace and become stronger. These simple steps will help you improve your quality of life and feel more confident. Stay tuned for more information on how to make your life better. Enjoy watching. Your thoughts shape your reality. Get rid of negative thoughts and your life will become brighter. Epictetus. Transforming negative thinking into a source of inner harmony. First, we need to get rid of negative thoughts. The great sages teach us that our perception of the world depends on how we think. If our inner dialogue is constantly filled with worries, fears, resentments, and self-pity, the world around us will seem dark, unfair, and full of problems. As the philosopher Epictetus said, it is not the things themselves that upset us, but our attitude towards them. Therefore, it is important to learn how to control our thoughts and not let negativity take over our minds. Watch your thoughts. Notice when destructive ideas, words, and images arise. Pay attention to self-criticism, catastrophizing, and fixating on the past or future. Ask yourself questions. Is it really that bad? Is there another explanation? How can you look at the situation differently? Gradually, you will learn to recognize negative habits and stop them. Then start developing a positive mindset. Every day, remind yourself what you are grateful for. A roof over your head, loved ones, opportunities for growth and fulfillment. Celebrate your successes and strengths. Try to see the good and useful in every moment. Even negative experiences can be seen as a chance to learn something. Over time, positive thoughts will become habitual and crowd out negativity. Pay attention to the way you speak. The less you complain, criticize, and discuss problems, the easier it will be to tune in constructively. Instead of, "I can't do it," say, "I'll do my best." Instead of, "This is unbearable," say, "I can do this." Use words that reflect confidence, calmness, and optimism. And then negative thoughts will not take up space in your mind. With whom you hold conversations, with whom you will be, as if he who feeds you or poisons you. Seneca. Elimination of toxic effects. To improve your life, get rid of toxic people in your life. Notice that interacting with certain people can make you uncomfortable, tired, and depressed. After such encounters, your self-esteem may plummet, your mood may sour, you may have self-doubt, and you may want to give up on your goals. The great sages of the past have advised us to avoid associating with those who bring destructive influences. How do you recognize such people? They are usually constantly criticizing you, devaluing your actions, words, and hobbies. They may use sarcasm, ridicule, and derogatory remarks. At the same time, they do not tolerate criticism and often try to manipulate you, control your life, and impose their opinion. They demand unlimited support, but they are not ready to help in return. In their company, you feel less confident and lose your own individuality. It can be difficult to break off relationships with such people, especially if they are close relatives or childhood friends. It is important to find a balance. On the one hand, we are responsible for the relationships we maintain, as the sages said. On the other hand, we don't have to sacrifice our sanity for the sake of others. Learn to protect yourself from negative influences while maintaining your humanity. First, try to gently define your boundaries. Explain what exactly in the other person's behavior is unacceptable to you and how you feel. If the person does not accept your words but starts to argue, accuse, or manipulate, simply stop communicating. Respond succinctly, change the topic of conversation, find a way to leave. It is not necessary to enter into conflict and try to change the person. It is better to focus your energy on those who really appreciate and respect you. Gradually distance yourself from toxic people. Reduce the frequency of meetings, avoid frank conversations, and do not allow yourself to be drawn into their dramas. If contact is unavoidable, such as with coworkers or relatives, develop a method of psychological defense. Imagine that negative words and emotions from these people are just noise that can't hurt you. Treat negative comments as incidental background. Do not take them personally. Surround yourself with positive, friendly, and inspiring people. Seek out those who love and support you. Remember that our surroundings have a significant impact on us. Choose your community wisely. Gradually, there will be fewer toxic people in your life, and the desire to keep in touch with them will disappear. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Abraham Lincoln. Overcoming the abyss of procrastination. The next step to improving your life is to get rid of inactivity and laziness. Many of us know that frustrating state when we want to do something important, but there are always excuses, no mood, wrong conditions, or we can do it later. Wise people of the past viewed idleness as a great vice because it takes away valuable time that could be spent on development. So how do you beat idleness? Start by clearly defining your goals. Write down on a piece of paper what you want to achieve in your work, relationships, and self-development. Make your goals specific and break them down into small steps. This will make it easier to know where to start and will help you avoid procrastination. Hang the list in a prominent place so it constantly reminds you of your priorities. Use a daily planner for planning. From the evening, write out what needs to be done the next day, in what order and how long it will take. Start with 1 or 2 key tasks that can't wait. Don't overload yourself. Better yet, leave some time for contingencies. Follow the plan, but don't berate yourself if something can't be accomplished. Postpone uncompleted tasks to the next day. Establish a regular daily routine. Go to bed and get up at the same time. Get enough sleep. Get at least half an hour of physical activity to keep you energized and productive. Watch your diet, drink enough water, and avoid heavy foods. Take regular breaks from work to avoid burnout. Find a balance between work and rest. Don't forget about motivation. Remember that the strongest motivation is a goal you truly believe in. Think about what it will be like to achieve your goals, and imagine what will happen if nothing changes. Inaction and laziness lead to frustration and missed opportunities. Do you need it? Also, reward yourself for completing tasks, even if they are minor. These can be small pleasures such as a delicious meal, an interesting book, or meeting a friend. The important thing is that the reward should be in line with your goals and values. Over time, tasks will become easier and more enjoyable. Your attitude towards work will begin to be associated with positive emotions, and you will enjoy being involved in the process. Inactivity and laziness will go away, and you will become more organized, productive, and satisfied with yourself. Don't complain about circumstances, for they are part of your journey. Accept them as teachers and find hidden lessons in them. Confucius. Complaints and whining, tips from great thinkers. Stop complaining and whining. The great thinkers believed that complaining is unworthy of a wise man. Most of our problems exist only in our heads. We ourselves inflate small troubles to enormous proportions and revel in our misery. And then we wonder why we feel so bad and nothing works out. Every difficulty can be perceived in different ways. For example, you have serious financial difficulties. Option 1. It's terrible. Everything has collapsed. I'm in debt, and I have no idea how to get out of this hole. The future seems bleak and hopeless. The second option. Yes, the situation is difficult, but now I have a chance to rethink my spending and learn how to manage money more effectively. I can use this time to improve my financial literacy and develop a new plan to get out of debt. Feel the difference? Of course, sometimes there are really serious problems, but even these can be approached constructively. Instead of complaining and suffering, the great thinkers advised us to ask ourselves 3 questions. First, can I make a difference in this situation? If yes, start acting. Make a plan, ask for help, make an effort. As Marcus Aurelius said, obstacles exist to be overcome. If nothing can be changed, we move on to the second question. Can I adapt to this situation? For example, you find yourself in danger of being fired at work. You can't change the situation, you can only accept it. But you can use this time to improve your skills, learn new skills, or find another job that is more satisfying. You can find something good in every circumstance. If you can neither change the situation nor adapt to it, you can only accept reality as it is. It's not easy. No one wants to put up with pain, fear, and injustice. But by fighting the inevitable, we only waste energy and nerves. The great thinkers used to say, "Change your attitude to what is happening and life will change." If you can't change circumstances, choose how you react to them. Think of people who complain and whine all the time. Would you want to spend time with them? I don't think so. Most likely you will want to get away from this whining as soon as possible. In the same way, people around you begin to avoid a perpetually dissatisfied, depressed person. No one wants to be charged with negativity and listen to the same complaints. Now imagine a different picture. A person faces difficulties, but does not lose heart. He keeps his composure, looks for solutions, asks for support. Even in the most hopeless situation, he remains optimistic and does not lose his sense of humor. With such a person wants to communicate, friendship, work. You can rely on him. From him you can learn resilience and vitality. So the next time you feel like complaining, remember the advice of the great thinkers. Only you decide how to react to the vicissitudes of fate. Whining and complaining will not change anything, but you can easily spoil your mood and others. Focus on the good things. Look for opportunities, not problems. Act, not suffer, and then you will not be afraid of any difficulties. Comparing yourself to others is often a source of suffering. Focus on your own path and develop your unique abilities. Dalai Lama. Ending comparison with others. The road to personal happiness. Get rid of the habit of comparing yourself to others. In today's world, it is easy to be tempted to evaluate your successes through the prism of the achievements of others. It seems that someone has a more expensive car, a more prestigious job, a happier family, or a slimmer figure. This makes us feel less successful and confident. If this sounds familiar to you, consider the wisdom of the great thinkers. First, comparing yourself to others is a useless endeavor. Each person has his or her own unique set of qualities, talents, and capabilities. One is endowed with beauty and charm, another with intelligence, and the third with the ability to create with his hands. To envy a bird that it can fly is pointless, because you have your own strengths. Find them and develop them. This is your way to success. Secondly, you only see other people's victories, not knowing what trials people have gone through. Outward success can hide years of hard work, sleepless nights, and sacrifices. Mistakes and defeats are inevitable for everyone. It's just that many people prefer not to advertise their difficulties and share only joyful moments. Therefore, do not judge by the external picture. Third, even the most successful and confident people have their complexes and fears. Many celebrities, despite their popularity and wealth, secretly doubt their mental or external data. Perfectionism is an endless race. There is always someone more perfect. Is it worth striving for an unattainable ideal? Remember, the only person you should compare yourself to is yourself in the past. Competing with yourself is a real source of motivation. Look back 5, 10, 20 years. You've probably learned a lot, overcome challenges, and gained experience. You may have already achieved some of your goals and set new ones. Appreciate your small victories. Rejoice in every step forward. This is what personal growth is all about, being better than yesterday. Compare yourself more often with those who are less fortunate. Think about whether you are always grateful for what you have. A roof over your head, food, clean water, a peaceful sky. For close people who love and support you. For the opportunity to study, do what you love, travel and create. Compared to those who struggle to survive every day, you are incredibly wealthy. Appreciate what you have and continue to pursue your dreams at your own pace. Give up worrying about what you cannot change and you will find peace. Jalaluddin Rumi. Liberation from the illusion of control. Many of us want to believe that everything in life depends only on our efforts. All we have to do is to try hard, to foresee all the details, and the desired result is guaranteed. However, this approach often leads to disappointment because the reality is much more complicated and unpredictable than our expectations. The great thinkers reminded us that the only things we can control are our own thoughts, decisions, and actions. Everything else is beyond our control. We have no control over the past and the future, over the actions of others, over circumstances and accidents. No matter how much we prepare for an important conversation, the person we are talking to may suddenly fall ill. No matter how much we plan the perfect vacation, the weather can turn bad at the last minute. Trying to calculate everything only wastes our nerves. Isn't it better to accept reality as it is? Stop expecting the world to be predictable. Learn to adjust to its whims. Cultivate flexibility and adaptability. Set goals, but don't get attached to specific outcomes. Focus on the process and enjoy it. Trust your intuition and ability to improvise. After all, it's the unplanned events that often become the highlights of our lives. Imagine that you are floating down a mountain river. You can paddle against the current in vain, trying to turn where you want to go. Or you can relax, surrender to the flow, and enjoy the scenery around you. Of course, at times you will have to maneuver between rocks and rapids, but if you don't cling to every turn and float along the stream, keeping your balance, the unknown will no longer scare you. On the contrary, you'll look forward to the surprises and discoveries that await around the next bend. He who fights monsters must take care not to become a monster himself. Friedrich Nietzsche. Liberation from indulging in weaknesses. Each of us knows our vulnerabilities, the things we can't resist. For some, it is sweets and fast food. For others, alcohol and smoking, gambling, or shopping. Someone goes into social networks and TV series to drown out the feeling of loneliness, and someone takes out his irritation on loved ones at the slightest occasion. There are those who do not know how to refuse and take on an unbearable burden of other people's problems. Do these situations sound familiar? The great thinkers believed that indulging one's weaknesses is unworthy of a reasonable person. It is a direct way to lose willpower, self-respect, and inner freedom. Giving in to temptation again and again, it is as if we put on ourselves invisible chains. The further we go, the harder it is to break them. At some point, weakness takes over and begins to destroy our lives and relationships. But before you fight bad habits and temptations, it is important to realize them. First, observe yourself as if from the outside. Note in which situations you find it most difficult to restrain yourself. What do you feel at that moment? What thoughts come into your head? What is the trigger for a breakdown? It could be stress, fatigue, boredom, loneliness, insecurity. Try to understand the real reasons for your behavior. He who strives for the best should not be afraid to change. Jalaluddin Rumi. Replacing bad habits with healthy ones. Steps to personal freedom and inner balance. The next step is to find a substitute for the bad habit. It is important to choose something that will bring similar emotions, but without the negative consequences. For example, if you're stressed out, try going for a run, meditating, or socializing with a friend instead. Struggling to buy your 10th pair of shoes? Sign up for an interesting workshop or put money aside for charity. Craving a cigarette? Drink a glass of water, eat an apple, or chew gum. The key is to outsmart your brain and give it a healthier alternative. In addition, train your willpower. Like any muscle, it gets stronger with constant exertion. Start small. For example, give up sweets for a week. Gradually complicate the task. Monitor not only behavior, but also emotions. Learn to survive discomfort and not to snap. Do not berate yourself for failures, but analyze them and draw conclusions. Praise yourself for every temptation you resist, and be proud of your victories, even the most modest ones. Remember, your weaknesses are not a judgment, but points of growth. Mistakes and failures are inevitable, but they do not define your personality. What is important is the desire to become better, stronger, and more conscious. Don't pass up in the face of difficulties and temptations. Every time you make a choice in favor of your values and goals, you seem to break the internal chains. And one day, looking back, you will be surprised to discover how far you have come. After all, a series of small good decisions inevitably leads to big changes. Get rid of other people's expectations and demands. We all want to fulfill the expectations of our relatives, friends, colleagues, and society, to be good children, ideal partners, valuable employees, and loyal friends. We strive to receive approval, avoid criticism and conflicts, fit in, follow norms and stereotypes, even if they contradict our true desires and aspirations. Great thinkers believed that chasing other people's opinions is unworthy of a wise person, because then we make our mental balance dependent on external evaluations which are different and fickle. Today we are praised. Tomorrow we are scolded. Today we are idolized. Tomorrow we are overthrown from the pedestal. So is it worth changing ourselves, breaking our personality to conform to someone else's ideas of what we should be? Ignoring society completely will not work. We live among people and have to reckon with the rules of life. But it is one thing to make adequate compromises, and quite another to blindly submit to someone else's will. There are expectations and demands that can and should be challenged, especially if they infringe on our dignity, freedom, and self-expression. Imagine that from childhood, you were expected to become a lawyer, like everyone in your family. But from a young age you loved to draw and dreamed of becoming an artist. Deep down, you realize that the legal profession is not your path. You are tormented by the inconsistency with your parents' aspirations. But isn't the choice of profession and lifestyle your inalienable right? Why should you sacrifice your vocation and talent for the sake of someone else's ambitions and prejudices? Or imagine that you are dating a man who demands the impossible, jealous of every pillar, throws tantrums in an empty place, manipulates guilt, controls your every move. If you object, accuses you of selfishness and insensitivity, say, if you love, should indulge all whims and dissolve in a partner without a trace. But is this true love? Why do you have to put up with abusive behavior and forget about your own interests? The same is true of the working relationship. A boss demands overwork without compensation. Colleagues gossip behind your back and shift their responsibilities to you. Customers allow themselves to be rude and disrespectful. To the best of your ability, you should try to find common ground and go to meet, but not to the detriment of your principles and boundaries. Sometimes it is better to change the place of work than to endure humiliation and injustice for years. Great thinkers taught, live in such a way that you are not ashamed of your actions. Follow the voice of conscience, not the opinion of the majority. Believe in yourself and stand up for what is really important to you. Even if the whole world thinks you are wrong, it will not cancel your inner rightness. Ultimately, we are not accountable to other people's expectations, but we are very much accountable to our own souls and values. Don't be afraid to disappoint someone or go against the tide. Explain your position, offer compromises, but don't betray yourself. Surround yourself with those who truly understand and accept you for who you are. Don't try to squeeze yourself into someone else's frame of reference. Create your own. This is what true freedom and independence is all about. It is better to be the master of a simple house with peace than to live in luxury surrounded by chaos. Lao Tzu. The art of liberation. The path to harmony through the purification of space. Get rid of unnecessary things and junk. We all have clutter. Old magazines, clothes that don't fit, gifts that have never been used, gadgets and knickknacks that we haven't used in a long time. We often think that all this stuff will come in handy one day, so we carefully store it over the years. But over time, it fills up the space, making it feel cramped and cluttered. The oldest sages called for minimalism and simplicity. They taught that one should not get attached to material things and attach too much importance to them. True happiness and peace do not depend on the number of things, but on the ability to be content with little. The more unnecessary junk we have around us, the more it weighs us down, both physically and mentally. External clutter often reflects internal clutter. That's why it's important to regularly get rid of unnecessary things. Revise your space at least once a season. Be decisive. Anything you haven't used for more than a year can be scrapped. Give it to the needy, sell it, or throw it away. Keep only what you really need and what brings you joy. Think 3 times before buying something new. Do you need it? Evaluate its quality and functionality rather than quantity and prestige. This applies not only to material objects but also to digital content. Old files and photos on your computer, endless folders on your phone, inactive social media accounts, and unnecessary subscriptions. This is also a kind of mental junk that clogs your information space, and here it will not hurt to do a general cleaning. Gradually, order will become part of your life. You will be able to make decisions, act, and change your environment more easily. You will learn to distinguish the main from the secondary. The flow of unnecessary information and things will diminish, and the space that is vacated will be filled with ideas, meetings, and hobbies that will make your life richer and brighter. After all, true happiness lies in freedom and the ability to appreciate the little we have. When you get irritated, you give power to your emotions. Epictetus. The art of letting go, releasing resentments and negative emotions. We need to learn to let go of resentments and negative emotions. Each of us faces feelings of anger, frustration, envy, guilt, and fear. These are a natural part of the human experience, just as positive emotions are. Problems begin when we allow these feelings to drive our decisions and actions. Sages advise that we should be able to observe our emotions from the outside, rather than immerse ourselves in them completely. It is not necessary to suppress or avoid emotions. It is important to recognize and analyze them. Anger, fear, and resentment are simply our mind's reactions to external stimuli. They come and go like waves and are neutral in themselves. The danger lies not in the emotions themselves, but in how we interpret and react to them. Suppose a colleague harshly criticized your work in front of everyone. Your first reaction is resentment and anger. However, if you take the situation at a distance, you can see that this person may be stressed or actually providing constructive feedback. He may even be jealous and trying to hurt you. But that's his problem, not yours. The essence of what is happening does not change depending on your perception, but you can change your attitude towards the situation. Instead of dwelling on the negative, try to see the positive side. What lesson can you learn from this experience? What can you be grateful for? Avoid jumping to conclusions and try to look at things objectively. It is impossible to completely eliminate negativity from life. Pain, sadness, fear, and failure are important and unavoidable feelings. But we can choose how much attention to pay to them and how we respond to them. If you find yourself stuck in resentment, shift your focus to what makes you happy and inspires you. Engage in creative activities, sports, meditation, socializing with loved ones. Do things that help to restore your inner balance. Practice gratitude. Even in difficult times, you can find reasons to be grateful, whether it's a roof over your head, food, loved ones, or life lessons. By focusing on the positive, you refocus your perception. Resentment and negativity will no longer cloud your judgment and drain your energy. You will gain clarity of mind and the ability to act in spite of difficulties. It is not what happens to us, but how we respond to it that determines our happiness. Epictetus. The secret of inner wealth. Gratitude transforms our lives. Get rid of ingratitude. It is an insidious and invisible enemy of peace of mind. When we take everything we have for granted, we lose the ability to marvel and rejoice in the little things. We always feel like we are lacking something: money, status, recognition, or love. We do not appreciate what we have and see with greater clarity what we lack. Sages have said that ingratitude is one of the major vices unworthy of a wise person. After all, every breath we take, every day we live, already deserves gratitude. Not to mention loved ones, a roof over our heads, opportunities to study, work, and do what we love. Yes, life is not perfect, and there are enough difficulties. But if you look at it through the eyes of wise men, you can see a true miracle. Imagine that you have received a whole planet with forests and oceans, animals and flowers, mountains and rivers as a gift. You have a body that can move, feel, and experience pleasure. You have a mind, imagination, talents, and dreams. You have people nearby who love and support you. You can see sunrises and sunsets, taste a variety of foods, explore the world, and share your experiences with others. Isn't that a miracle? Of course, it's hard to stay excited about life all the time, especially when problems and setbacks pile up. But practicing gratitude acts as an anchor that helps us keep our inner balance even in the darkest of times. That's why it's important to make gratitude a habit. For example, keep a journal in which every evening you write down 5-10 things you are grateful for from the previous day. Or start your morning with a meditation of gratitude, praise, and support those around you. Notice and appreciate acts of kindness and care. In time, you will be surprised at how much good is around you. How often life gives us gifts that we simply do not notice in the hustle and bustle of life. Sages have often said that it is not so much what happens to us that matters, but how we perceive it. If you cultivate gratitude and wonder within yourself, even the most mundane days will reveal an abyss of meaning and beauty. Bottom line. We looked at 11 things to get rid of on your way to a stoic lifestyle. Negative thoughts, toxic people, procrastination and laziness, complaining and whining, comparing yourself to others, the illusion of control, indulging your weaknesses, other people's expectations and demands, unnecessary things and junk, resentment and negativity, and finally, ingratitude. Of course, working on yourself is an ongoing process. It is impossible to achieve a state of complete serenity and acceptance once and for all. It is more of a direction of travel than a destination. Every day brings new challenges and temptations, and what seemed trivial yesterday can become a real challenge today. But that is the essence of Stoic philosophy, the willingness to live every experience with dignity and understanding. Don't berate yourself for your lapses and breakdowns. You don't need them. It is much more important that you return again and again to the practices of mindfulness, gratitude, and self-control. Remember what is truly valuable and what is empty and superfluous. Learn to distinguish what is important from what is secondary, what is eternal from what comes. Little by little, change your habits, attitudes, and ways of thinking. These small steps eventually lead to big internal changes. Lastly, one of my favorite quotes from the Stoics that personally helps me a lot. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Change your attitude toward the things that trouble you, and you will be safe from them." In that simple phrase is the quintessence of Stoic wisdom. We have no power over circumstances, but we always have power over how we perceive them. To panic or to remain calm, to complain or to act, to fear or to trust ourselves and the world, the choice is always ours. So be brave to let go of what is keeping you from going through life with ease. Thank you for being with us. We hope that today's episode has inspired you to take new thoughts and steps towards wisdom. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new episodes. Your opinion is very important to us, so share your thoughts and questions in the comments. We always welcome your opinion and are ready to discuss topics that interest you. Don't forget to click on the bell to be the first to be notified of new videos. And remember that every day is an opportunity to become wiser and better. See you in the next videos. Be aware and wise, and may your life be full of meaning and harmony. Life's Wisdom Channel. See you soon.